Well, what a fabulous panel we have here. We've got 3 IITians on the panel today, IIT Bombay, IIT Kharagpur, and IIT Madras. So 3 IITians. And here's a special IIT Delhi connection. Seema's daughter is currently studying at IIT Delhi. Where is she? She's somewhere here in the audience. So what a proud moment it must be for you, Seema, to be here speaking at IIT Delhi with your daughter watching you. But ladies, it's fabulous to have you. Saranya, I'm going to start by talking to you, and I'll come to each one of you to talk to me about your stories. Let's start by talking to you about your journey at IIT Madras, because that is where Agnikul was also incubated. But that's not what you wanted to do. You didn't want to get into the business of space. Tell me how that happened for you.
Yeah, thank you for, first of all, having me here and organizing this event. Okay, my journey, actually, I was born and brought up in Andaman. I finished my schooling, I did my BTech there. Then I came to IIT Madras for doing my master's. I was studying civil, then I did my BTech in civil, then I did my master's in ocean technology. Then I was searching for some core job. That is when Agnikul came into picture. They came for the placements, and they had put up a very interesting profile in the portal. So they were not asking about a very difficult question, very basic science questions they were asking. So that is when I was like, okay, let's try. And that is when our founder, Srinath, he had come and he had put up a presentation, which actually brought the interest in me, saying that, okay, they are doing something new, building a private space sector that is not new. That too, when it was 6 years back, there were no private company. Other than ISRO, we could not think of any other company coming up and doing a launch vehicle company in India. I was like, okay, let's give a try there. That is how I got into Agnikul. After 4 rounds of interview, they took me.
After 4 rounds of interview, she'd got into the company. And ladies and gentlemen, today she is the director for the mission that actually saw India's first private rocket being launched. So tell us a little bit more about that, Saranya. And what, you did that all under 30? she isn't even 30. Go ahead.
30. Okay, to talk about the mission itself, so it was an suborbital vehicle. Actually, we are aiming for an orbital vehicle. But to demonstrate what we are capable of doing, so we thought of doing an suborbital mission. So we wanted to do something different, and we started doing what our orbital vehicle is going to do, trying to extract most of it, and then we put together a vehicle which can fly at least to some extent, and it can also demonstrate all the technologies which we are trying to build in India. So that is how the mission started. It was almost 2 years, a lot of people's hard work, everything put in together. We were like, yeah, I think it's my founders who found that, okay, if they gave me an opportunity to be the vehicle director for the mission. So it was a huge learning for me to build. We started off the company by at least when I went in, I didn't know anything about the rocket building. So to building a vehicle which can actually fly, it was amazing.
Not just actually fly, it's actually flown.
Yeah,
so congratulations to you and to the entire team at Agnikul. And I will come back to you with more. But Neha, let's talk about you, and let's start by talking to you about your IIT journey and then how that happened. And then I'll talk to you about traction. But first, IIT.
So I grew up in a very academic family. So my brother is from IIT Bombay, my dad is from IIT Kanpur. I grew up in a colony which is called a Bhabha Atomic Research Center, in which half the people's parents are scientists. So it was a very academically driven environment that you grew up in. For me, it was, so I'm born and brought up in Bombay, and for me the criteria was that the college has to be in Bombay. So I actually only applied to IIT Bombay. Fortunately,
you only applied to IIT Bombay and you got into IIT Bombay. Wow.
Fortunately. So I was like, I cannot study in any other city at that time. Now I love Bangalore, but at that time I was like, I have to be in Bombay, so I just applied there. And luckily, I got there and, did computer science undergrad over there. So obviously, the ratio has been skewed ever since. You started in college when you were probably a batch of 30 girls in a class of over 500 people overall. So probably very different from how you saw in school. But glad to see that number improving now.
Well, yes, we're all glad to see that number improving. But, as I asked Abhiraj, did you always want to become an entrepreneur? What was the startup, the seed for the startup, and when was that sown?
So for me, entrepreneurship was never the way of life. A lot of people actually grew up, say, in a Marwadi family, think that, entrepreneurship is, they're actually looking for ideas. For me, it was never the way of life. I was an investor. So I was doing my job at Sequoia Capital, investing in private markets. And that is when the idea of Traction got born. So it was more the problem that I connected with, that I thought, that's interesting enough for me to dedicate my life to it. That got me started to Traction. So, just to give an example, as private market investors, we would do a lot of effort to find out about interesting startups. If you have to find out about companies, say in online brands, we would actually look at hoardings, we would look at ads, you'd look at so many places to find out interesting companies coming up across India. And on the other hand, entrepreneurs are taking so much of pain in actually reaching out to investors. So there's this information arbitrage which exists in this market, and the problem is made more complex when you have to look at international ones. Whenever you are evaluating a company, you're also looking at who are the global comps of that. How is it being done in China? How is it being done in US? Yeah. So we realized that, public market has the luxury of a lot of platforms like a Bloomberg, which exists, but private markets does not have a platform. And that's how we thought that, let's build a global platform in that space.
Well, you're building a global platform in the private market space, and you've managed to go public yourself. Traction is now listed. What was that experience like for you, and what is it like being a listed company today?
So if someone would have asked me earlier when we were starting that, obviously listing is like a great milestone that you can, aspire for, but will it happen within the first 10 years of your startup journey? The answer would have been no. But it's amazing to see, I guess, what you can achieve when you're just having your heads down, and you're obviously very aware of the markets. Like IPO is a very, it's market dependent. So, obviously you as a company have to be ready, like profitable, etc. So we started preparing for an IPO when we turned cash flow positive, because we realized, we saw it from the investors' lens that is how the public market also, really likes to see. So we started our process, and luckily, we got listed about a year and a half back. And yes, a lot of people have actually asked, how is it after being listed? So we were actually the first VC-backed company from Bangalore to be getting listed. Interestingly, a lot of companies, most of the tech-listed companies are actually in Delhi or in Bombay.
Yes.
And,
even though Bangalore manages to capture all the headlines.
Exactly. Being home to, the most funded sort of ecosystem, but still has very less listed companies. Yeah. Hopefully that will change, in the years to come. But, there were not a lot of people that you could ask around, to understand how the ecosystem sort of operates. So we were thankful to have some of the mentors that we got early on. We had like angel investors like Mr. Nandan Nilekani was an angel investor, Mr. Mohandas Pai was an angel investor. And just having, hearing from them, their experiences, and hearing from a lot of other mentors, how their experience was and how to prepare your company to going listed. I think that really helped for us. But I would say it's great to be listed. It brings a lot of discipline for you as a company. And if you want to continue to run this for the next decade, I think getting listed is essential.
Getting listed is essential, and we will get back to talking to you about what the road ahead looks like for Traction in a second, Neha. But Anu, let me come to you. And I've known her for more than about 15 years now. We did our first interview way back in 2008, I think, in Hyderabad. And what a journey it has been for you, a serial entrepreneur. First, take us through your IIT days. And, Anu, as I keep asking you, I mean, for you, it must have been very, very different in comparison to what we've heard, even from Neha as well as from Saranya.
So thanks, Shireen. It's always great to come back and chat with you. So I think I came here and it was like, oh my God, I came here in 1991. 1991, that was my first year of college. I came here for Inter-IIT. So I remember this campus especially, because this is one thing that I think especially the women need to hear. So I was, good in table tennis, but I became the captain because my captain dropped out. And I came here and we were playing and I won the first game. And then all the men started booing me.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And so I realized the power of mind, right? Like, I was better than the player that I played against, but I lost. And I think that was my first lesson that I learned, which is that, you might be better, but sometimes, your circumstances make you believe you're not, and therefore you lose. So I think that's one thing that everybody needs to do, and I think coming back to this campus...
We have to correct that. We have to give it a big round of applause now to make up for what happened in the past.
Yeah, but my coach also gave me gajar ka halwa, so it was okay. So I think that is my first round. I remember coming to IIT Delhi, but I won 3 other silver medals, so it was okay. It was not too bad. So I grew up a long time back. I grew up in, so I went to IITs in the 90s, which many of you were not even born at that point. At that point, I think I really was somebody in my school days, I wanted to win the Nobel in physics. Very simple goals.
Very simple, very achievable as well.
Yes, absolutely. But once I went into IIT, I said, you know what? This is not my thing, right? I mean, you start to realize that you have to start to know who you are and what you're good at. So at that point of time, I said I want to go into, get an MBA or do get into some sort of business, because I realized I was good at selling things and doing stuff and all of that. So I think that's where I discovered who I was in my second year. And then over a period of time, I think I did go to the US. I went to the university and I was supposed to do a PhD in physics. I clearly knew I wasn't going to do it, but I did it anyway. I went and joined a PhD program, went to University of Illinois, and I think I was the first student in that batch who basically knew that I wasn't going to do a PhD, but I had written a really nice statement of purpose, because clearly, that was what I initially wanted to do. And so after when I went and I was graduating, and they said, so why do you want to leave and join the business school? And so I gave them a big reason. I said, in the next 5 years, this is what I want to do. And I was actually just making up stuff. It so happened my life turned out exactly like that. Right? So I said, I want to start a company. I want to do something.
Fake it till you make it.
I just said it because I wanted to go to the business school. But my life actually turned out exactly like that. I went to business school. I joined a startup. And then after that, I've been in the world of startups since then. So I think sometimes, maybe your subconscious gets you over there. And I think that's how I got started. And then I started Ossimum in 2000 in the world of genomics with absolutely zero understanding of the genomics field. And today, I think 24 years later, I think I kind of know a lot more about genomics than I did in the past.